Hey guys, what's up? It's Christian and Corey here to bring you SuperKamiGuru9000's review of Naruto Chapter 548. Here we go.
Also, you guys probably noticed, I don't have my vest this week, but due to specifics that I don't really want to get into, I don't have it this week, so maybe next time I'll have it.
Fail!
Alright, anywho, let's get into Naruto 548. And honestly, this was a pretty interesting chapter to say the least. At least the last couple pages were. Everything at the beginning, though, was so-so, and most of the same pandering that Kishimoto seems to love so much.
He drives it in all the time. You think you know a character, and then, oh man, sorry.
If you don't know who Gaara is by now and the type of character he is, I don't know what the hell your problem is. But anywho, it's continuing more with Gaara's dad and Gaara, and he's just reinforcing the fact that, yes, your mother really did love you. And Gaara's taken back by this, and he even starts to cry a little bit because he finally realized that his mother always loved him. And he uses this one metaphor that he tells to his dad. He's like, this is the first medicine you've ever given me. More symbolism from the wonderful Japanese. But they also go back into those old flashbacks with Gaara and Yoshimaru, his uncle. And this goes on for too long. You know,
and so much the same thing, and it's so many old flashbacks we've already seen, and it felt so like, okay, let's get on with the war. You guys were going to fight, right? You know, weren't you doing something? And there's also that symbolism of the sand turning into his mom, like covering Gaara as he cried.
You know, due to plot convenience, this is really the only time we've actually seen his mother embodied in the sand before. We've never really seen it before, and it has been sort of hinted at that she's always been there and controlling the sand. But the whole battle with his dad sort of comes to an end. We can see they now have the ceiling on them, and that's only affecting his dad right now because the former Raikage and the former Mizukage are now jumping into the battle.
So the Mizukage and the Raikage end up escaping from Gaara's sealing technique, and they just like bust out of there, and they're just tearing up the battlefield. As Corey says, all the meat shields are getting beat up right now, all the random nameless good guy ninja. Good luck, you guys. I think you might actually beat a main character. And so anyway, they get away, and the Raikage is a lightning user, and the Mizukage is a genjutsu user. But then he summons a big clam, which makes no sense. You know, be scared of this. I'm sure like a few nameless ninja died under that summons. It's really sad you died by clam. By clam. Okay, so after that happens, Mu and Inoki, the Tsuchikages, are fighting, and it's all DBZ-like because they're just blowing up the rocks, and there's like perfectly like symmetrical cutouts in all these rocks as they use their dust element techniques. And then Inoki goes into a cloning technique, and that's kind of where it leaves off.
And now for the most redeeming quality of this chapter, the meat and potatoes of the chapter, if you will. We get to see Itachi and Nagato are continuing their walk down that windy ninja road when they run into who but Naruto and Killer Bee, and the epic confrontation might begin. And that's where our chapter comes to a close.
So what do we think of Naruto Chapter 548? I didn't really like the beginning. I kind of felt like we just got done reading this at the end of the last chapter, and then they just spent the first half of this chapter just reinforcing it all. We did get some new, old flashbacks, but that was about it. And then we got to see Gaara break down when he knows his dad accepts him, and then his dad starts to go away. You know, whatever. It was kind of expected, and it was done really well, but I want to see some fighting and some war. You know, I'm kind of pumped for that now, so that's why I was kind of let down by the beginning of this chapter, but the end was pretty awesome and leaves us open for some awesome... I mean, it's just a great setup. The end of this chapter was just amazing.
You know, it's not unexpected for these shonen series to reuse flashbacks. We've seen it used multiple times in series like Dragon Ball, Yu, Hakusho, One Piece, all that stuff. But Kishimoto, the author himself, he really loves to use this stuff, even in the manga all the time. The whole flashback, again, with Yoshimaru and Gaara, just... I've seen this. I'm tired of seeing this. I now understand who Gaara is and what he's all about. And I'm glad that his, you know... I'm glad his story's done. I'm glad I know all there is to know about Gaara unless the author decides to throw in another twist in there. But again, the end of the chapter is really what saved it and what's going to create the most development coming in the later chapters. Another thing that kind of got on my nerves, though, is now that they're going to this, maybe they're not going to go back to the other battle for a while. Who knows? And who's to say that Naruto, Killer Bee, Itachi, and Nagato are even going to fight? You know, there could be something really unexpected happen. For all we know, that crow That plot device might come into play now. Maybe Itachi knew this was going to happen. He was a really smart ninja, after all. Maybe he knew about Kabuto's intentions. Maybe he knew who he was. Who knows? It's kind of up in the air right now. But it's going to be interesting to see because Naruto himself has quite an interesting history with both Itachi and Nagato.
Yeah, like I just said earlier, I mean, this setup is pretty flipping epic. I think we could either see some amazing fighting next chapter, or we're going to see some amazing plot development. It can really only go one of two ways. And that's what we thought of this chapter. So for rating this week, I have to say we're going to give it a 7 out of 10. Only because the beginning was kind of too much reinforcement for us. We all care about Gaara and stuff, but come on, man. It was just too much of the same stuff. It really felt like I was reading the end of last chapter all through the first half of this one. And 7 out of 10 is fair because the ending was epic.
Epic enough. I mean, it's what saved the chapter, really, and it's just what's going to push the story even further. But if it wasn't for that little bit at the end, this probably would have been a 6. But because of that, we're going to give it a 7. Alright guys, here's our questions for the week. My question for you guys is, do you think that Itachi, Nagato, Killer Bee, and Naruto are actually going to have a full-fledged battle, or are they just going to hang back and have an interesting plot conversation? Who knows? Just let us know.
And my question this week, you guys, is do you think the crow that Itachi gave Naruto is going to come into play now? I think that's just a super awesome plot device that they can just whip out whenever they want something to happen in the story. So I don't actually think they're going to use it this week, but maybe they are. What do you guys think? Leave a comment below and let us know.
You like Gundam? You like Gundam? You watch now! Now, it's no surprise that we at SuperKamiGuru9000 love our shonen anime, but you know what? If you haven't noticed it by now, I'm a huge Gundam fan, and that's why I'm making my Gundam retrospective series. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, I've decided to watch all of my old Gundam DVDs and go through each series one at a time and do a quick little retrospective on each one where I talk about the characters, the mecha designs in the series, and what I liked or didn't like about the series. I just released my 5th one, which was Gundam F91, but you can see all of the original ones on our channel, so please check those out. They're really cool, and if you like them enough, please check out the series, because they're just really great to watch.
Till next time, SuperKamiGuru9000 out.